What's up, friends, fellow card collectors? Card Doggies here. How y'all doing? Good to see ya. It's been a while since I put out a video. It's been about a month. But like I said, I want to try to at least post at least once a month. I was going to do a binder video this month, but yeah, just between, consuming time with other things and procrastinating too much, I never did the video. But I do want to do another binder video and a few more maybe quick hitters and stuff. I know I promised that last month, but didn't pull through. Sorry, guys. But yeah, so the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame is up. I haven't been really watching anybody's videos recently. I just haven't been spending a whole lot of time on the card side of YouTube. So, but being part of this community for the past few years, I figured it was my duty to at least vote for some folks. Jake's now running it instead of Mike. Jake at Legends Never Die. I'll have a link to the Hall of Fame video in the description below. But yeah, this is an off the cuff, so I might be rambling a bit. But yeah, so Jake's running it now, and so Mike stepped down, Jake took over. Props to you, Jake. I know it's not the easiest thing to run, to take on a responsibility like that, but appreciate it. There's been some rule changes. In order to vote, you have to have done YouTube content for over a year. Yeah, certainly meet that criteria. But for your nominees, they had to have been making sports cards videos for 3+ years. So, but I've kind of been out of the YouTube community for pretty much over 6 months now. I've done videos here and there, but I haven't really engaged with the community like I used to. I used to always be on YouTube, always be in the card community. But yeah, I've kind of pulled away from that a little bit. But yeah, it's still good. It's good to see the same names, familiar faces and stuff posting videos. And appreciate seeing others, carry on the community torch and making content and ripping packs. But yeah, so last year I did a video. It was real fancy, did some editing and, had some music and stuff. I actually did pretty good last year with my nominations. I think 3 of my nominations got voted in, which is pretty cool. It was Egg, Up North Collectors, and who was the third one? Oh, Zombie Collector, Jason. Yeah, so Zombie Collector, It Come With an Egg, and Up North Collectors all got voted in last year, and they were on my list. So there were some people on my list last year that are no longer eligible this year because of the new 3-year minimum rule. And that is Scotty, Aranya Boys. I would still like to nominate Scotty, Aranya Boys, but unfortunately they are not eligible. But yeah, definitely I would vote for them again if they're eligible. So they're not eligible this year by the new rules, and I mean just missed it by a couple months. And then Scott over at Reindeer Studios, 100% a Hall of Famer in my book, and in all our hearts, Scott is a Hall of Famer. We love you, Reindeer Studios. You are just not eligible this year. If you had only started a year earlier, you wouldn't have this issue, sir. No, I'm just kidding. Love you, Scott. So the names that were left over that were on my list last year and are eligible this year are Packer Cards 87, I call him one of the OGs for football card collecting. I think he's been doing it 6 years, 5 or 6 years, something like that. Ridiculous Jordy collection. He's got some ridiculous cards, some really high-end stuff. But Packer Cards 87 for sure. Also one of the bigger YouTube channels there are in sports cards. Jeff Airtime. Jeff Airtime is like me, has been missing in action for a few months, just popping in here and there and doing a live stream or whatever. But yeah, Jeff, 3 years doing card content. And I have a feeling Jeff will be back around. I hope Jeff comes back around. Love me some Airtime. Love me some Airtime trivia. But yeah, Jeff Airtime is nominee number 2. So that's Packer Cards 87 and Jeff Airtime. The third nominee is Wicked Discounts. I heard Wicked is no longer doing YouTube content and is doing breaks somewhere. Not on YouTube. Instagram maybe? I don't know. I don't remember. Somebody told me Wicked is doing breaks on another platform. Not really YouTube anymore. But yeah, I'm still going to vote for Wicked because Wicked's awesome. Wicked, spent a lot of time you know, trying to do community things, trying to build up his streams to where, you know, it was like community. He was trying to do, you know, Saturday morning streams, you know, doing like a game show, not just breaks and stuff either. You know, he had the Christmas contest where he had, you know, did a full month of prompts, like video prompts you could do, you know, for Christmas videos, and it was a great content generator. You know, and then he gave away a great prize at the end for the winner. And yeah, Wicked Discounts and Mrs. Wicked up there and close to the Pittsburgh area. They're all Pittsburgh fans. But yeah, I'm gonna hold my nominee for Wicked. So that's my third nominee. Fourth nominee, MP Fox. Actually, it's Fox Crew Cards now. But yeah, MP Fox has always been one of my favorite channels. Just great family oriented channel, I guess you could say, family oriented. But yeah, they do great videos. They get the whole family involved. They have a passion for their sports teams. They have a passion for their family, and it's great to see. Just one of those. It's a I don't want to call y'all wholesome. Y'all are wholesome. I love y'all. Y'all are like a TV family. But yeah, Fox Crew Cards. That's my fourth nomination. My fifth nomination might be stretching the 3-year rule a bit, but he's so close to 3 years. He's been on YouTube longer than 3 years, but as far as like sports card content, literally his first video is January, his first sports card video was January 30th of 2019, which would put it at right at 3 years on January 30th. And I think the cutoff was 27. So there's a 3-day cutoff. But either way, I'm voting for Thrice Runny for my fifth choice. You know, Jake, if you can find it in your heart to look past those just minuscule days for Thrice Runny to reach that 3-year mark. Thrice Runny definitely one of my favorite football card YouTubers. He mainly does football. Chiefs fan. I'm sure he posted. He actually did post a reaction of the Chiefs and Bills game, which was a crazy game towards the end there. But yeah, so that's my 5 votes for YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. Packer Cards 87, Jeff Airtime, Wicked Discounts, Fox Crew Cards, formerly MP Fox, and Thrice Aroni, Scotty at Arania Boys and Reindeer Studios. I will get you all next year if the rules stay the same. But yeah, that's the end of my ballot. Maybe if I get more in tune back with the community, I'll have more channels to fill out a full ballot next year. Right now, it's not looking like it. I still love the community. I still collect, but it's like I used to be like a fiend for ripping stuff, and like yeah, that itch to rip product kind of got sucked out of me. Especially number one, when you couldn't find product, it became a hassle, you know, to find product. You know, you see, you know, when you were able to walk into Walmart or Target or Walgreens or wherever and find a box of cards and you pay your $20 and you walk out and you got a box of cards. But then it got to the point where it was like, you had to camp out for cards. The demand was just ridiculous. And you know, of course I always say the greed was ridiculous and what caused it, you know, it's the supply and demand. There was so much demand. Why was there so much demand? Because the secondary market was insane. I think it's cooled off a little bit from just the bits and pieces I've caught from here and there. But you know, if you have any comments on that, just comment below of what the market's like now, or are there cards? I know my Walmart I think my Walmart had like 4 blasters sitting there, and there were College Chronicles basketball, and I don't play basketball, so you know, I just walked past those. There was no football or baseball. You know, I missed out on Holiday. I missed out on Update. I do have a box of Update that Top sent me for the Future Stars Club. But yeah, so I'm rambling here. This is a true off the cuff. Yeah, let me close out with one more thing. The Hall of Fame vote, not the YouTube Hall of Fame, but the actual MLB Hall of Fame vote, where Big Papi got voted in. So congrats to David Ortiz and Big Papi. Well deserving. Yeah, I believe David Ortiz was a Hall of Famer in my book. But you know, there was a lot of controversy this year in, you know, in the vote with Clemens and Bonds and Sosa all coming off this year, and even Schilling. But Schilling was coming, you know, different reasons for Schilling. And yeah, so like only Big Papi got voted in, and you know, I can understand why people say no Bonds and, you know, Big Mac and Clemens, Sosa, for the, and people that have been caught doing PEDs or steroids or whatever should not get in the Hall of Fame. I can understand the way they see it, and their opinion is 100% valid. I view the nuance in it a little bit. I look at players at what they were like pretty much before you saw the change in their career. So, in my opinion, Barry Bonds did not take steroids until he went to San Francisco. Now, this is my opinion. I'm saying this. There's no facts anywhere about this. But I don't think Barry Bonds started taking roids. I don't think Barry Bonds started taking roids until 1999. That's, the year after the whole McGwire-Sosa home run chase, which saved baseball. And in my opinion, Bonds was a Hall of Famer before that. He already won, 3, 4 MVPs before that. He was a Hall of Famer already. He didn't need the roids. The roids were an ego thing. I think he felt overshadowed by the whole McGwire-Sosa thing. And I think he won the MVP that year, if I'm not mistaken, in 98. So y'all, who won the MVP in 98, National League? But yeah, I think his ego, he had a big ego. And I think Bonds' ego is what forced him to start taking roids. He's like, look at McGwire and Sosa, and they're getting all this press, and I'm over here, one of the best players, in Major League Baseball, if not the best player in the league at that time, and I'm not getting any recognition. I'm getting overshadowed by these roided up dudes that are hitting bombs. I'm going to do that too. And Major League Baseball is not going to stop me because they don't stop anybody. Do it. And he did it, and it turned a Hall of Fame player, a superstar, already the best player in the game pretty much, into a god. And that's why I would have voted in Barry Bonds. I wouldn't punish him for taking roids for the last 6-7 years because it did extend his career. The dude was a Hall of Famer before that, in my opinion. That's why I would have voted for him. Same thing with Clemens. Clemens had 2, 3 Cy Young Awards, or close to Cy Young Awards, before he went to Toronto. When he went to Toronto, I think is when the roid use really pumped up. I could see Clemens having used a little bit earlier than that, before he left Boston. But Boston let him go, I think, because he was starting to falter a little bit. And then he resurrected his career in Toronto as a Blue Jay. And continued on for years after that. He pitched a long time. And I think roids did extend his career, but I think Clemens was a Hall of Fame talent before the roids. And I think he should have got in. Now, my caveat to that is, Sammy Sosa, I got some dirt on my hat here. Been doing some work outside. Sammy Sosa is a different story. Sammy Sosa, you didn't know who Sammy Sosa was unless you were a Chicago fan. Before the whole home run streak. Roids are what made his career. He hit all those home runs, a ridiculous amount of home runs for 5-6 years. Got caught corking his bat. I think it was pretty obvious the roids made his career. And so, in my opinion, Sammy Sosa is not a Hall of Famer. My opinion, it's just the thought of the use of steroids, preventing people from getting in the Hall of Fame, it blows my mind, because it was not like it wasn't rampant in the MLB at that time, and Bud Selig in the Hall of Fame. He enabled the use of steroids, probably encouraged it. All the managers that managed throughout that period, your Tommy Lasordas, your Bobby Coxes, your Joe Torres, your Tony La Russas, all of them enabled it in one way or another, right? They enabled the use of steroids. All your Hall of Fame managers that were managing back then, why are they in the Hall of Fame? They let the steroids happen. Of course there can be an argument against that, and I understand. But it's just the way I see it, It's demonizing these players that took roids, and they knew what they were doing. 100% they knew what they were doing, but there was no enforcement. They didn't have to hide it, really. It wasn't until, the Mitchell Report and the Jose Canseco expose or whatever, that it even became an issue, and then they started like really cramping down and testing on it, and it blows my mind that like all of a sudden like you got these scapegoats, these demonized players that were the greatest of that time in the steroid era, and they're like, oh nope, we're keeping them out, they used roids. And it's like, yeah, so they use roids, but you're not talking about all these other players that weren't Hall of Fame players that use roids as well. And that's where that really, you know, sticks in my craw, I guess you could say. I'm not trying to get heated here. I'm just rambling, not trying to get heated. But yeah, you know, that really gets to me. Is like, you know, these were the best of the best players, whether they took roids or not, and then they took roids, and they're the best of the best roid players, right? Who's the roid players that weren't the best of the best, that had average careers, and they were taking just as much roids as, you know, Clemens and Bonds and Sosa and Palmeiro and, you know, whoever else was taking roids. It drives me nuts to double think on it, but it is what it is. You know, I'm not a baseball writer. I'm just a dude flapping my gums on a video. But yeah, so that's gonna be the end of this one. I'm gonna quit rambling. I gave y'all what, good 15 minutes, 14 minutes of rambling. But yeah, so I need to get back to work. It's kind of cold out here, and I'm sitting here recording a video freezing. I'm gonna go get me some lunch first. That'd be awesome. And then get back to work. But yeah, so that was my monthly video, my YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame vote, my Hall of Fame ramble, and I am out, folks. Maybe you'll see me around, maybe you won't. I'll try to be around a little bit more often. All right, everybody, peace.